Hey everybody, I am Joe from My Lightroom is a Mess, and let's learn Photoshop. Today we're going to take a look at complex removal and why we might use more complex removal. Here we go. So I did a video recently discussing essential removal skills, the basics of how to do removal of objects inside of Photoshop and doing it the right way. But there is a slightly more complex way that we might need to do removal, and we do it for one of a few reasons. Blurring background in a complex way might be one, moving an object is another, and we need to remove things in order to do those jobs. So today I thought I'd take a look at more complex removal strategies and the interesting things you can do with them. Let's take a look. We're here inside of Photoshop and we have this image of a family, and we want to blur the background a little bit more than it is currently blurred. Add some depth of field effect. Now there are a couple ways that we can tackle this. One is to use the Adobe Camera Raw filter. Let's take a look at that way briefly. I'm going to take my background layer and make a copy of it. I don't like to take a background layer and then turn that into a smart object. I like to leave my background layer untouched. So we're going to make a copy, which is Command or Control J. Now I need to make this into a smart object. Two ways to do that. Right click and then convert to smart object, works great. Or come up to filters and then convert for smart filters. It's literally the first non-changing portion of that menu, just to make sure you know that this is a good idea. We use smart objects when we are applying filters because we could then change the value of those filters later. So we're going to apply this and it turns it into a smart object. The symbol for the layer turns into the smart filter or the smart object icon. And now I can apply the Camera Raw filter. So the Camera Raw filter is interesting. If you are coming into Photoshop from Lightroom, it's going to be super comfortable for you because it is effectively the develop module of Lightroom Classic. A couple things are relabeled. There's a little bit different categories. For instance, light and color are differentiated, but by and large, this is the develop module of Lightroom Classic, and all of your tools are here, including lens blur. Lens blur tries to figure out the relative distance of objects and blurs portions of the frame depending on their distance. So I'm going to apply it. Now, this is a great thing to attempt to do. The downside is that this uses an algorithm that tries to figure out distance, and sometimes it gets it wrong. So with this image, if we take a look, it is blurring his hand when it really shouldn't be. There are ways of refining the mask, but they are relatively rudimentary. They're just brushes. We can come into the refinement section, come to focus, and then I could attempt to draw this back. I can't be more precise than the precision of the mouse. So we get this area around it that is also removed from the blur, and it looks a little bit strange, right? Okay, so sometimes the mask might work out in your favor and sometimes it may not. If it doesn't, then we need to move to another way of blurring the background. So we're going to cancel out of this and I'm going to show you that technique. So starting over from the beginning. Here I've got the image and I'm going to make a couple copies of the background layer. And the first thing to do is to make a selection of the people. I'm going to come to my intelligent tools and click select subject. This gives me a selection of the people. That's awesome. All I need to do is mask them out. Click the masking button and now we have a mask for this layer that is just the subjects. If I only look at the layer, hold Alt or Option, click on the eyeball, we can see it is just our subjects and I'm perfectly comfortable with the mask. Feels good so far. Next thing that I need to do is not see this layer at all. So I am simply going to turn off seeing it. It looks the same because the layer below it is identical, but it won't be for long. With this layer, I actually need that same selection. So I'm going to hold Command or Control and click on this mask in order to turn this mask into a selection. And what I need to do is remove these people from this layer. So in order to do that, we want the contextual taskbar. Come to Window, Contextual Taskbar. And here, we're simply going to Generative Fill. Click on that. You could click on Remove if you wanted to, and that works well also. It just doesn't give you choices. If I click on Generative Fill, it's going to say, what would you like to fill with? Leave this blank, and it just pretends that these people aren't there and tries to figure out what would be there if they weren't standing where they are. And now we can see we get one image that's really nice. That looks great. We get another one, looks totally good. This third one, it decided to add a bench for some reason. We're not going to use that. We're going to go with 1 or 2, and we're totally happy. So now we can add back in this, and the image looks the same. But now we have a layer that's the people, and then the background behind them. And the only thing that we need to do, I'm going to hide the contextual taskbar. The only thing that we need to do is we have this layer, which is the generated pixels, sitting on top of this layer, which is the people. I want those into one layer, merged together. So we call that a stamp visible layer or merged layer. With this top layer, which is the people, turned off, we click on the layer below it, and then we're going to, this is a 4-button press, Command or Control, plus Alt or Option, plus Shift, plus the letter E. And doing so is going to create a stamp visible layer. Now we're looking only at it, which merges everything we had clicked on and everything below it. So at this point, I can bring back the people and it looks the same, but we truly have a background separate from the subject. Now for the finishing touch, we're going to grab this layer 2 and turn it into a smart object. We know how to do that. It's going to be Filter, Convert for Smart Filters. Once that's done, we can apply a filter, and we're going to use Tilt Blur. So we're going to Filter, Blur Gallery, Tilt Shift. And this is a way to make really wonderful depth of field controlled blurs. Let's take a look at how this works. It's very simple. We have the very middle, right? And that's going to be where we can pick it up and move it. From the middle to the lines above and below, there is no blur added. From this solid line to the dotted line, it increases the amount of blur, and then from the dotted line and beyond, it remains the same. We put the dotted line at the horizon because it will be equivalently blurry from that point onward. And then this also continues at the bottom, so it's symmetrical. But I don't want to blur this foreground. What I want to do is take this and move this right about here. So I want the line to be where the background depth of field blur would begin, which would be right about there. Take this line and drag it down. This wants to move up to the horizon line, which would be about there. And now I can add in the blur amount that I want. I could go to an extreme amount that looks a little bit unrealistic. I can bring it down. Let's call it about there, though I could change the values later, and press OK. So now we actually have this background blur that does not blur the subjects. Turn off seeing the subjects. We see the image now has blur that extends all the way to the horizon line. Add the people on top, and we now have completely controlled depth of field blur that is movable and adjustable in any way I want. We're going to use this same technique for another kind of cool effect. So I want to find this image right here, and I'm going to bring it into Adobe Photoshop. So we're going to actually move a subject this time. I'm going to get rid of this image. I don't need it up anymore. And we've got the bird here. This is a Harris hawk, and I want to move the bird in the frame and maybe make it a little bit bigger. Well, we're actually going to use the exact same technique. We're going to take the background, and I'm going to make a couple copies of it, I think. This top one, we're going to use the intelligent selection tools, select the subject, which is going to grab the bird. And just to make sure we don't have any mistakes in the selection, we're actually going to expand it a little bit. So that's going to be Select, Modify, Expand. And let's expand it by 15 pixels, but we're not done because we also have its shadow on the ground. We need to get rid of that. So what are we going to do? Well, the shadow is probably easiest to select with the lasso tool. If you have a selection already active, hold Shift to add to it. And now I'm just going to drag this around that whole area there. So I have this area, and I've got the one below it that I want to remove. All right, I'm just going to do the same thing I did before. That's going to be Window, Contextual Taskbar, and then I'm going to click Generative Fill, leave it blank, click Generate. This will create a completely blank image effectively. That's a good option there. So I have the generated pixels on top of a layer. Seems fine. What I'm going to do with this selected is I'm going to create a stamped visible layer, Command or Control plus Alt or Option plus Shift plus the letter E. And now I have my background, but I need the bird. So I'm going to grab a bird layer, drag it on top. There it is. And with this, I can come back to my intelligent selection tools, select the subject. That's going to be the bird. And I can simply mask the bird out. So at this point, the image looks the same, except there's no shadow from the bird. But critically for our point, the bird is separated, which means the bird is movable. So I could take my Move tool, just V on the keyboard, and I could move the bird wherever I wanted. Let's say I wanted it to go about here. That seems fine, but I've got a problem. There's no shadow. So we need to create a shadow from the bird. Let's go ahead and do that. I need a copy of this layer, just Command or Control J. And one of these, the one below, is going to end up being my shadow. The other one's going to be the bird. Okay, so let's take this shadow and we want to do a couple things with it. We're going to distort it in some way, shrink it. We're going to apply filters to it. So we really need it to be its own layer, right? And we need it to be its own smart object. That is going to be right click, convert to smart object, or filters, convert for smart filters. So now it is its own smart object, and now I can really change it. If I want to transform it, Command or Control T. And so I think that I'm going to shrink it a little bit and I'm going to rotate it a little bit. Let's put it about there. And the other thing I really need to do is I need to blur it, right? So I'm going to come up to Filter, confirm where it's at, Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and let's blur it some significant amount. Let's say that much right there, but it needs to be black, doesn't it? So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new solid color adjustment layer. So at the layers, the adjustment layers button at the bottom, not the right panel tool, but the button at the bottom, we can create a solid color. And in here, we just need to drag it to black. And now we want this black to only apply to the smart object below it. We want to clip the edit only to the layer immediately below it. That's called a clipping mask. Hold Alt Option, click on the line in between. And now we have a shadow. However, we really want this to not just be black sitting on top of the ground. I want it to interact. So what we're going to do is take this layer and change its blend mode to multiply. And now it's actually interacting with the ground, which feels really good. I think it still is a little bit too big, so Command or Control T, and we're going to shrink it down even a little bit more. Let's call it about there and confirm. All right, so next thing, I think the bird could be a little bit bigger. Click on that one, Command or Control T, and now I think I'm going to make this a little bit bigger in the frame, right about there. And the other thing I can do is take the bird and everything having to do with the shadows, highlight them all. That's just holding Shift, click on the last one, Command or Control G. And now I've got a group, which is the bird. If I grab the Move tool and I select the group rather than the layer, have the group selected, I move the bird and the shadow simultaneously and can put them anywhere in the frame. Anyway, if you want to master Lightroom from beginning to end and understand all of the facets of how we use it and work with it as our daily photo editing driver, well, I have an 8-hour course on Udemy. I'll put links to it in the description, of course, but it covers everything you need to know to become incredibly proficient with Lightroom Classic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.